I'm going to use the F word in this video. No, I don't mean that one. I mean fascism. It's a lot dirtier. And it's also more important that we say it out loud and understand what it really means than at any time in the last 80 years, because that's what we now face in Donald Trump. So let's quickly talk about why we don't talk about fascism, why that's absolutely the right term to use when it comes to Donald Trump in 2024, and why there's actually some good news that the tide is starting to turn. Why don't we talk about fascism? As a former campaign manager for congressional candidates, I can tell you that there was always an unwritten rule in politics. Don't compare your political opponents to Hitler because it always boomerangs on you. It feels over the top. People don't buy it. And most important, the media is going to dilute it anyway because they're too afraid of losing access to Republican sources. And they've let the gaslighting by Fox News get into their heads that somehow there's a liberal media bias, which there isn't. And it's not just mainstream media either. I can tell you that just by watching or sharing this video, you're helping. Because when you talk about topics like this on YouTube, they steer advertisers away. It's one of the subtle ways that tech platforms try to discourage people from talking about unsettling topics like this and the truth of what's actually happening in America. So, what about the question, is it right to call Donald Trump a fascist? Here's what they had to say about that on Morning Joe.
Fascism is generally understood as an authoritarian far-right system of government in which hyper-nationalism is a central component. Check. It also features a cult of personality around a strongman leader. Check. The justification of violence or retribution against opponents. Check. And the repeated denigration of the rule of law. Check, said Peter Hayes, a historian who has studied the rise of fascism. Past fascist leaders appealed to a sense of victimhood to justify their actions. Check. We're entitled because we've been robbed. We've been victimized. We've been cheated and robbed. Check, check, check.
Donald Trump's latest extreme remarks describing his political enemies as vermin that he needs to root out is sparking new concern about his authoritarian rhetoric, and that is the piece in the front page of the New York Times. And it notes this. He has insinuated that the nation's top military general should be executed and called for the termination of parts of the Constitution if he wins back the White House. He has said he would have no choice but to imprison political opponents.
But here's the thing. It's not just about the rhetoric. Trump can just hand wave that away and say it's just words, which, by the way, is exactly what he said to dismiss his grab them by the.
This was locker room talk. It's locker room talk, and it's one of those things. Just words, folks. It's just words.
This isn't just about the rhetoric. It's about a massive, coordinated plan for an authoritarian takeover of government.
One of the first things they'll do is this idea of political retribution and remaking the judicial system, both to protect Donald Trump and to get vindication for perceived wrongs. One interview I had, what changes in Trump's second term? The first thing that I was told is Mark Milley goes to jail. And then Tony Fauci goes to jail, literally subverting the whole of government to do that and taking the Justice Department kind of inside the White House. Dan Boltz wrote this in the Washington Post just this week. It's now time to take him both seriously and literally because the plans are there. I mean, the plans are already being laid out.
If Donald Trump wins in 2024, Axios reports that Trump's allies are pre-screening ideologies of thousands of potential foot soldiers as part of an unprecedented operation to centralize and expand its power at every level of the U.S. government if he wins. Those allies have published a 920-page plan led by MAGA hardliners like Charlie Kirk to unleash the Justice Department against his political enemies, to, quote, scour the country for unauthorized immigrants, put them in sprawling detention camps, and deport millions of people per year, to fire tens of thousands of civil servants and replace them with Trump loyalists, and to make the military do exactly what Trump says without question. So, given all of that, number 3, why is there some good news? Because things are starting to change. The mere fact that I'm able to show you clips of the media talking about this is a really good sign. The Washington Post put out a full article comparing Donald Trump's rhetoric to Hitler's. The New York Times is talking about fascism on the front page. Did they get there on their own? No. It's taking pressure from people like you who take the time to watch and share videos like this and hold the media accountable. But that's all right. Change always happens because people demand it, and it's better late than never. So what can we do now? There's a year to go before the 2024 election, and we've got to keep the pressure on. When the media lapses back into their both sidesing and horse race coverage and normalizing Trump like he's any other candidate, hold them to account. Go on social media, talk about it, share videos like this. And of course, we'd appreciate if you'd subscribe to the channel too, because we're going to stay on top of this as well.